Hi everyone, this is Susan with letsfeelexcellent.com, and I was thinking of what I could show you as far as raw, not necessarily raw, but vegan sushi, and that's easy to conceptualize with rice or grain. But what if you don't use rice or grain? Well, first of all, in my nori, I just wrap up anything. I started doing this when I wasn't a vegan. I would put my eggs in here and stop eating bread, you know. But I'll toss a salad in one of my salad dressings that I show you, and I'll wrap up a salad and I'll just eat it. But today I'm going to show you, I came up with a sushi recipe. I was gravitated towards artichokes and spinach. So the artichokes, of course, are not going to be raw, but I found some good artichokes, and I'll tell you why I like to use them and put some things together, and we'll have some fun making sushi, okay? All right, so here we have, right, like that. Okay, so I'm going to use a food processor, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some spinach. Like I said, I was just gravitated towards spinach, and I just had to have artichokes. So Costco came out with artichokes, or you could just steam them yourself, that didn't have any fat in it. So it didn't have the salad oil, the canola oil, those polyunsaturated fats. So it doesn't have any fat at all. They were just artichokes in water. And they're gorgeous. They're way more beautiful than the ones that are marinated in fat. And so what I have also some of my pickled papaya that you saw me make in an earlier blog. And I just have it straining because there's some liquid. Sushi's kind of a dry thing. We need enough moisture for everything to stick together. But the little paper noris, they can't take too much water. So I'm going to pack in some spinach in my food processor. There you go. And I'm going to put in my artichokes. Well, and the papaya too. So if you don't have access to green papaya, you could just use another fermented vegetable, or you could leave it out. But in the Orient, they eat fermented vegetables or fermented something in every meal. So we'll talk about that in a different blog, why that tradition came to be, why it's good, and why maybe you don't want to do too much of it. So I'm putting in some fresh spearmint from my garden, which goes excellent. Green papaya and mint go great together, or papaya and mint in general. So you do it to your taste. Some of you will like it more minty than others, but mint is excellent for digestion, and it's such a nice, refreshing pick-me-up. Okay, so I'm going to try that and see how I go. Mix it around. Oh, I'm going to put some cayenne pepper in it, as I always do. If you wanted to add a little fats in here to make the antioxidants work better, I've already had my almond milk, so I've had my fats for today. So I'm not going to put any milk in it or fat in it. But if you did, you could add a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to show you when I roll the sushi. These flavors work really good with avocado. So when you roll the sushi, you could put a slice of avocado in there. You put some other kind of oil in if you wanted to. So it's good to add that in separately and not really have the, you know, the jarred artichoke marinating in it. So you're saying, what's wrong with rice? Well, you know, rice bloats. Look at the animals that eat rice. Look at the people that eat rice. Look at in the underprivileged countries in the world where they eat rice. Rice bloats. It bloats a lot. And so, and it ferments, it putrefies. It's very difficult to digest, amongst other problems with rice. And we've had enough, most of us have had enough grains for the rest of our life. We don't really need grains. We started eating them when we migrated to cooler climates, when we started feeding more people, when we started getting busier. We started feeding us and our animals grains. And they're a pretty harsh, acidic food. So you don't really want to eat them. A little bit more here. Just got to keep turning it. Whoop, you go. Yeah, that would be a great place for you. Right in the bottom there. Last night I made this and I had it like guacamole. If you have it a little chunkier and you just want to take out the big leaves, or even if you don't, depends on what you're making the sushi for and how decorative you want it to be. You're going to see that I'm not fancy with my sushi at all. I just like it. I am using the roasted nori sheets, but you can get raw ones. They're like 8 times more expensive, and it's very difficult to find raw organic nori, but you can find it. Oh yeah, big glob of cayenne pepper that got mixed in there. I'm happy about that. I like my cayenne, but evenly dispersed, right? I wish you could smell it. It's really smelling good. All right. Do a little taste test here. See if it's okay. Oh, delicious. Broke your mouth. Okay. All right. So there I have my sushi filling. And I'm going to work on some little additives here. So I'm going to put mushrooms in. Little slivers of mushrooms. And like I said, I tasted this last night. Avocados would work great in here, but I don't happen to have an avocado right now. Slice up the rest of these and show you something else that you can do with this. Mushrooms are a good source of vitamin D, which some of you might need just because of the weather conditions, but also I live here in Hawaii, and I was very determined to test the vitamin D thing and see how much I was really getting. And I was out religiously at noon every day and didn't wash off the vitamin D, all of that. And I was deficient in vitamin D. So that is why I say there's a bit of hormone balancing that we could look at too when we're making all this effort to be healthy and we're going that way. I'm going to put some tomato in there. Obviously, I just cut that up to make them even thinner. There we go. Okay, there's my stuff. And now I'm going to roll sushi. So trade places here. I have used the mats, and they're good, but I don't really need it, so I'm just going to roll it like this. So I put some of the filling in, which is perfect. Now, the one thing about the sushi is it's not going to keep like you might be used to seeing in the grocery store that has all kinds of corn syrup in it and rice and stuff, and that stuff can stay on the shelf for a little while. This is not going to be able to do that. You want to eat it fresh, so you just roll it up and eat it. Okay. Drying my hands there, and I'm going to pack it in and roll it up. You see how the wet is kind of coming out? So there we go. Now, I just eat it just like that. That's how I eat it. And I was telling you, I toss a salad, I roll them up just like that. But if you want to cut this, this cutting board's really wet, so I'm actually going to do it. Okay. Okay. If you want to do it, you take a sharp knife. It has to be wet. And this is actually the first time I'm cutting this live. Okay. This particular kind. And you just cut them. Yeah, see, it's got to be wet. And I think the stuff's squished out of here, so I don't know if it's going to cut. Okay, so now I have little sushis. Yeah, they're pretty. I wanted to make them. I can also roll these up in like a butter lettuce and then cut them as well, and those are kind of nice too. Yeah. But I just roll them up. Now let me show you what else you can make inside your sushis. If you want, if this is too thick for you, you can add some of that juice back in and make it thinner like a guacamole. See, this is still pretty thick and coarse, so I could make it more like guacamole, which is what I made last night. And I also said this is excellent with avocado, so I could put an avocado in here too. Okay, and here I have chips and dip. Right there. You can just dip in. And that was really good last night for a nice, easy dinner. Didn't really have to do anything, do much at all. It took 5 minutes to prepare, and that was it. So, there's my sushi and my dip. So I am Susan with letsfeelexcellent.com. I thank you for joining me and have an excellent, excellent day. Aloha.